and I have received Sogomo from omnichannel, and I have Gloria as well, from Microfinance, Faulu Microfinance. I think it's quite amazing for what we need to hear about customer experience coming across different sectors as well. So I think the whole day we've had about AI, we've had about innovation, we've had about technology, and we want to understand what is this treasure in all this? Are we designing, are we innovating in terms of human experience? Are we looking at customers and innovating towards that as well? So with that, I'll ask first question to Diane. So Diane, could you walk us through a practical example of how data and AI are transforming the customer journey, particularly in insurance claims?
Thank you, Naima, and good afternoon, everyone. I think firstly, I'd like to thank TradePass for the invitation, and obviously for organizing this great event year on year. It's always great to be invited back to speak and talk about the customer, because obviously in everything that we do, in each of the organizations that we have, regardless of what type of customer you have, then we do put the customer at the center of it. So, Naima, obviously, data and AI have become synonymous with any conversation that is held, where customer is discussed, where tech is discussed, where innovation is discussed. In the insurance industry, we're not left behind, and neither are we from our customer experience perspective. Data and AI help us to serve the customer first. They help us to serve the customer better. It does help us to know our customers and perhaps even know what the customer needs way before the customer knows what they want. So what we have done at Britam, if I can give you an example, is obviously around claims. In insurance, the moment of truth is at claims. That's really the promise that we make to our customer when they take up a solution with us. And so it was just 2 weeks ago that Britam launched AI-enabled claims assessment solution. So perhaps in trying to explain what that means, if I can set the stage in terms of what the traditional process is for claims assessment as well as a claims notification. A customer would typically bring the vehicle to an assessment center. The assessor would take photos of the damage, listen to the narrative from the client as to what happened, the incident, and then they'll let the customer know that, okay, we will review this and we'll come back to you. The customer may ask how long, we'll give them 72 hours, it takes 72 hours or so. The assessor then uploads those photos into a system, does a manual verification and manual categorization. This damage equals minor, major, medium, etc. The assessor will also contact the garages and get some quotation, and then finally an assessment report is produced and a repair authority sent to the customer. That usually takes anywhere from 48 to 72 hours. The process is slow. The customer is anxious during that period of time, and there is inconsistency in terms of the assessment as well, because obviously this is a human assessment. Now, with an AI-enabled model, the customer still comes to the assessment center. The assessor takes a photo of the damage using the AI-enabled tool, and that tool is able to instantly categorize the damage. And then immediately issue a repair authority to the customer. We actually call it our drive-through assessment center. It takes simply 15 minutes for that to happen. And really the only reason why it's taking 15 minutes at the moment is because there still needs to be some verification with regards to the cost with the garages. Now, how is this able, how is the AI model able to work well? Now, since right about 2019, at Britam, we have had this tool or system that the assessors use to upload the photos onto the system. It's that same system that we use to categorize the type of damage as well as the issue, the repairs. That is the tool that we have used to train the AI model. So it's utilizing thousands and thousands of accident images, thousands and thousands of patterns, in order to be able to then say that this particular image, this type of damage equals this type, is now categorized as this type of damage. So it's quicker and it's faster. Now that's not the end game. The end game really is to give the customer control. And before the end of the year, the customer will be able to self-assess. So that tool right now is being used by the assessors to continue to train the AI model. Eventually, a customer will have that tool. And so what happens, the customer has this self-assessment tool on their mobile. They are coming to a conference like this and get involved in an accident. Rather than trying to find an assessment center, they instantly are able to take photos. That AI tool is instantly able to categorize the damage and issue the repair authority. That gives the customer control, it's instant, and because of the consistency, the customer is able to trust that. So that is what we're doing right now at AI. Of course, it accelerates the process, but also it does shift that control to the customer for better experience.
Thank you very much, Diane. I think that's an amazing initiative. And just listening to what you say, ensuring that we design anything that we design it around the customer. Just putting the customer at the center of everything we do. But also remembering that in insurance as well, we have different kinds of customers that we serve. And we talked a lot about AI, so I'm thinking about my mother, in the underserved, marginalized areas. And so maybe this question is for Christine. So in financial wellness, where financial wellness involves over life, right? So how are you using data-driven engagement strategies to remain relevant in different life stages? We have Gen Zs, we have the millennials, we have the Generation X, Generation Y as well. You'll start to use your customers as well. So how are you using that?
Thank you, Naima, and good afternoon, everybody. So I like that you actually have pivoted the discussion towards data, because I think one of the most misunderstood products or services is financial services. You see somebody coming to sell you insurance and you want to run away because we're pushing products. But at Old Mutual, we want to start moving towards pushing solutions, understanding who you are. And when I understand who you are, then I know the solution is going to sort out your problems. So we've started young, collecting the data, and one of our biggest initiatives in the last 3 years has been to start recruiting as young as junior high. So we have partnered with KIC, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, and we have embedded financial education to as young as that child, and we are starting to collect the data of that child because they have a portal where they learn, where teachers learn. Now this child who's about 12 years old will grow into an 18-year-old. We have extended this financial education into universities. So we're working with local universities at the moment. And what do those local university kids want? They want money, they want it now. And there's a product for that. So we start introducing them to money market. And so once we start understanding that this child actually turned 18, that's data, then we can start pushing financial wellness to a place where they understand. They finish university, they want a fast car, they want a Subaru. Again, you teach them how to save for that as opposed to borrowing for that. I know Gloria will be willing to give them money for that, but we're trying to tell them, hey, you can save for this. Then once the first car is with the young man, he'll probably start attracting some young beautiful girls, and we want to get married if he's convinced enough. And we teach you how to save for that wedding, because that is what is going for at that time. And we actually using this data. Because now you have a car, I know your car insurance, I know your car type, I know if you have a money market, I probably know how much you're worth. I can start selling you a house. I'll give you a mortgage for the house. I'll give you insurance financing for your house. And then by now, I know you're probably getting some babies. I'll sell you an education policy for your babies. And so from the time you are 14, you started being exposed to how to budget, you started being exposed to how to save, then you started being exposed to saving for the future, to growing your money. At this age, then I know you're probably getting to your 40s, and because I know you have a first car, I know you have some children, you're probably having some very bad lifestyle habits, and you're going to start getting lifestyle diseases. So I'm going to give you a medical cover that's going to cover your lifestyle diseases so that you don't deplete the money that you receive. It is a reality right now that you're literally 1 visit away from poverty. So if we can be able to help you at that point, not fall into that place, then we do it. And it goes on and on because I can see you taking medical cover for your parents, and I can see your parents are growing older, you have all the way to last expenses of product. So all this data that we are collecting, we are able to walk with you the journey of life, literally. And what financial wellness means is that you don't have to worry about, first of all, growing your money. You don't have to worry about debt because we're trying to make sure your debt is as low as possible. And believe it or not, once you're financially well, you become holistically well because you're not stressed, so you don't have mental stress. And because you don't have mental stress, you're physically fit as well because you take time. And we're also using data to do pre-wellness for your physical, just in case it gets bad. So all this data literally comes together to make you live a better quality life, not just you, including generations to come. If something happens to me today, I have to be protected in other generations to come. So all this data was work that has been done over the past few years to make sure that we can see this person 360 degrees. We see your whole portfolio, and then we're able to take care of you as a whole human being, not just one person.
All right. Thank you very much, Christine. I think we are very personal and facing, just making sure you walk the journey because that's very important. Yeah? So maybe this question is for Gloria. So in microfinance, access alone isn't just enough, not transactional. So how are you designing the end-to-end experience to build trust, confidence, and long-term loyalty, not just transactional?
Thank you, Naima.
And generally, when you think about traditional banking, it's being done around transactions. And what that does, then think about your reseller along the road. If you're designing around transaction, what opportunities does this person have to even be in banking? So what we are doing around journey mapping at Faulu specifically is looking at dignity, predictability, and capability. Because this is someone who needs to go to, they want to come to you because they don't feel like they belong. So you've got to look at what is their behavior, what environment are they operating in, what opportunities exist. And the opportunity here exists around education. So you're tailoring your customer journeys around at what point do I send nudges? How do I give information to these people so that they can feel that they actually belong in the banking sector? They can actually move beyond cash. They can move beyond mobile wallets to actually get into the banking system where they can get more opportunities. It's breaking down the jargon around banking into a language that they can actually understand. It is about putting product cycles and solutions that speak to their cycle of receiving money. Some of these people will be its daily income. Some of them it will be when I harvest, that is when I have money. So are you tailoring your solutions towards speaking to the environment that they are operating in, the financial life cycle that they do have? So you move away from transactions, you go into looking at the individual, the environment they're operating, how their financial cycles are, and you tailor solutions based on that. So you work backwards from that point of view towards tailoring and customizing your solutions to actually speak to them. So dignity, predictability, and capability is what we really focus on.
I can see the reason you're already rushing us, but can I quickly ask this question? So, when you can start with this, how do you protect your CSOs in terms of showing financial performance instead of just showing the pressure in terms of cost efficiency? How do you manage that? Just a quick one, 30 minutes.
That's right. So we look at cost of risk as well as the cost to serve. Any experience that you give to a customer that does not work actually means that silently exit from your system. So then that pushes up the cost of acquisition. It also pushes up the cost of having to entice them to come back. So you have to position what's our cost to serve if we do things right and when we don't do things right. And when you monetize that and present it in terms of figures,
Kaunti zile mashine zote ziko leo.
Bottom line is how much money the customer is bringing to us. So I look at how many other policies have been taken. If really you went through the journey with you, your average needs met in terms of number of policies, your customer lifetime value, retention, and renewal rate. Basically, they're not bringing in and bleeding for CS without actually retaining.
Thank you. So, Britam?
I think Christine has mentioned them because we are obviously in the civil industry, but perhaps we just add something different around it, being that I also oversee brand and marketing, is the brand strength element. Look at and you connect your customer experience initiatives to what it will do to the brand strength as well as brand value. I think those are conversations in addition to what my colleagues would have said. Thank you.
So, thank you very much, everyone. I think we've had, so the trader today is customer experience, ensuring that you deliver your experience tailored to your customer. So I think that's what we've learned today. As much as we're innovating, as much as we are bringing in new technology, let's put it around the customer.